Speed is intoxicating. It carries the rush of momentum, the illusion of progress. Yet governance is often misunderstood, dismissed as the brake pedal, reduced to a compliance chore, endured as the meeting no one wants. Hi, I'm Mirza Chughtai, and this is part 6 of Transformation That Sticks, a leadership series where we explore the unseen disciplines that turn ambition into legacy and change into impact. In this episode, we will examine how velocity can be achieved with discipline and how large-scale transformations find equilibrium between speed and governance. If I have done justice to the topic at hand, by the end of this episode, you will see why velocity and discipline are not opposites. They are inseparable partners in scale. Velocity without discipline is fragile. It magnifies every misstep, compounds every oversight, and eventually collapses under its own weight. And when that collapse comes, it is rarely a small stumble. Product launches recalled, market share surrendered, customers lost, and reputations damaged. Discipline without velocity is equally dangerous. It slows decisions to the point where opportunities pass, markets shift, and once promising initiatives fade into irrelevance. In the artificial intelligence era, where quantum compute, multi-threaded architectures, and global cloud ecosystems make it possible to scale innovation at unprecedented speed, the challenge is no longer whether velocity is achievable. The challenge is whether that velocity is sustainable. Sustainable velocity demands intentional design. It requires leaders to treat how work gets done with the same seriousness as why we do them or what we accomplish. It rewards transparency over opacity and merit over favoritism. It demands governance that is not an opposition layer, but a guiding layer, equally committed to achieving the right outcome with integrity and compliance. Disciplined governance transforms the leadership dynamic. Executives stop worrying about whether teams are moving in the right direction because the system makes alignment visible. It restores meritocracy to its rightful place. The people who do the work are recognized and rewarded. Skill is valued. Talent is preserved. Potential is developed, not muted. And favoritism, the quiet killer of performance cultures, is marginalized by design. The fastest, most adaptive enterprises are rarely those with the loosest controls. They are the ones that have mastered the art of building speed into their governance. So decisions travel as fast as the work, trust compounds across teams, and execution scales without fracturing. In the best of them, transparency is non-negotiable. It's the core value that ensures governance does not become an opposition layer, but a guiding layer. Here, governance is incentivized to achieve outcomes with integrity and compliance, not to block progress. It is as committed to the right outcome as the teams delivering the work. This is what lets CEOs sleep at night, knowing that speed is not eroding trust and governance is not killing momentum. That combination of velocity, trust, transparency, and integrity is the triumphant fusion for sustained transformation. Let's break it down into three leadership disciplines that make this balance real. One, velocity through intelligent flow, where we remove friction so work moves at the pace of readiness, not the pace of permission. Two, design governance to accelerate, not restrain, where we embed clarity, guardrails, and decision structures that empower execution at full speed without fear of misalignment. And three, innovation with integrity, where we pair rapid experimentation with embedded accountability. So speed strengthens rather than destabilizes the enterprise. Let's explore discipline one, velocity through intelligent flow. We are no longer operating in the industrial cadence of the 20th century, or even the linear digital cadence of the early 2000s. In the modern enterprise, speed is no longer about running faster down a single lane. It is about orchestrating motion across many tracks at once. The AI era has shifted the rules completely. Quantum compute, parallelized software layers, cloud native architectures, and the elasticity of public cloud allows organizations to operate in true multi-threaded mode, collapsing the old limits on how quickly organizations can move. Those that learn to design for this kind of flow gain a decisive advantage. The question for leaders is no longer, can we move faster? It is, have we designed our organizations to match the velocity our technology already enables? High velocity enterprises in this era do five things exceptionally well. They design for parallel velocity, not linear progress. They remove friction at the source. They match decision cadence to delivery cadence. They keep work visible, measurable, and connected. And they build surge capacity without chaos. I saw these principles in motion while supporting a global financial institution in reshaping its architecture and engineering discipline to unlock massive acceleration in technology delivery, creating exactly this kind of intelligent flow. The challenge was clear and urgent. Move from 1% to 50% public cloud adoption in just 12 months. Fix 40% failure rate in private cloud on-demand provisioning. Balance cost against performance, stability, and security. Support both specialized workloads like artificial intelligence, high-performance compute, databases, and general workloads without creating bespoke silos. Enable DevOps and infrastructure as code as the default operating model. The stakes were massive. 40 plus million customers across 60 plus countries. Every delay rippled across markets. Every failure consumed talent, capital, and customer trust. So we broke away from the comfort of sequential thinking because sequential thinking is the enemy of velocity. Instead, we engineered 3 synchronized lanes, each moving at speed but in perfect sync. 1. Design and architect, where engineering and OEM teams sat side by side, shaping the blueprints in real time. No throw it over the wall decisions were made where the work lived. 2. Testify and certify. The work moved from the ivory tower into a pass fail crucible run by domain experts who could approve, reject, or demand rework in hours, not weeks. And 3. Deploy at scale. A clear, unbroken handoff of operations engineering with provisioning pipelines already tuned for speed. When a design cleared certification, it went live without any drama. It felt like running 3 trains on parallel tracks, each with its own destination, yet all arriving at the same station together. To make it real, we had to solve for 3 enablers at the same time. 1. Upskilling at scale. Building a targeted roadmap to close critical skill gap fast enough to keep all these lanes moving. 2. Containerized first approach. Triaging which applications could take advantage immediately and which needed refactoring before they could run. And 3. OEM integration. Embedding vendor engineering talent directly into delivery teams to overcome non-standard skills constraints to accelerate decision making. The transformation was visible in motion. Infrastructure requests that once took weeks dropped to hours. Private cloud provisioning failure rates plummeted. Developers stopped waiting for infrastructure. They started creating on it. And because we defined reference architectures early and enforced them relentlessly, we scaled without fracturing. Velocity was no longer a gamble. It was sustainable, measurable, and trustworthy. Let's now explore discipline 2. Design governance to accelerate, not restrain. Velocity at this scale is accelerating. But without governance, it is also dangerous. Because the speed, once unleashed, will expose every weak joint in the system, every gap in process, every shadow dependency, every decision bottleneck you did not know you had. This is where most transformations stumble. They confuse velocity with endurance, assuming that once the engine is running, it can run forever. But engines without regulation burn out. In the institution we just discussed, our velocity breakthrough immediately surfaced the next challenge: requirement for governance that could keep pace without slowing the work. The mandate was as complex as it was high stakes. Over 160,000 critical patches per quarter across hardware, operating system, middleware, and applications. Data scattered across multiple systems, making it hard to even know what needed attention. Testing was unpredictable, with no guaranteed end-to-end golden image for stable deployment. And all of it bound by change management compliance that allowed zero margin for error. If discipline 1 was about building the lanes for parallel motion, discipline 2 was about keeping those lanes safe, clear, and moving at full speed. Not by slowing them down, but by embedding governance into the flow itself. We designed the governance model around 2 synchronized lanes of accountability: Chief Information Security Officer lane focused on technology risk, identifying vulnerabilities, testing patches, and preparing them for production. Business Information Security Officer lane focused on business risk, aligning with application owners and business units on downtime windows, restarts, and user acceptance testing. The key was parallelism. The CISO lane and BISO lane moving simultaneously rather than sequentially. The CISO team worked to make vulnerabilities visible and tested within 8 days of a patch becoming available. The BISO team engaged the business in parallel, so the moment patches were production ready, deployment could proceed without delay. The result? We cut the industry average patch cycle, 38 days for any vulnerability, 34 for critical ones, by 30 days. And we did it without creating security exceptions or operational chaos. To make this sustainable, we built the process as 5 parallel layers, each with its own clear ownership and embedded measurement. 1. Discover. CISO supported by data science to surface vulnerabilities. 2. Prioritize. CISO supported by data science to rank based on exploitability and risk. 3. Test. Joint CISO plus architecture and engineering domain experts plus AI-driven validation. 4. Deploy. BISO with application owners, operations engineers, and AI-assisted orchestration. And 5. Validate. BISO with application owners, user acceptance testing teams, and automated load testing. We also immediately folded approved patches into the golden image. So all new builds came pre-secured, eliminating bleed from new vulnerabilities that being introduced into the environment right away. The shift was culture as much as procedure. Governance stopped being the meeting you wanted to avoid. It became the enabler of safe speed. The very reason leadership could sleep at night knowing that velocity was not eroding trust and trust was not killing momentum. And this is discipline 3, innovation with integrity. Every enterprise claims it wants more innovation. Fewer are ready for the consequences when innovation actually accelerates. Because without the right discipline, velocity in innovation is a double-edged sword. It can produce breakthroughs, or it can overwhelm systems, fragment platforms, create security vulnerabilities, and erode the trust that took years to build. Innovation without integrity is just disruption. And disruption without direction burns more than it builds. In the institution we just discussed in disciplines 1 and 2, our ambition was as bold as it gets. Move from hardware-defined to software-defined across every technology stack, while unifying 15 private cloud DMZs with new public cloud workloads without relaxing a single element of our security posture or GDPR compliance. The old model, the DIY approach, gave a select few teams full control to tailor solutions and squeeze hardware costs. But the trade-offs were steep. Higher operational TCO, fragile stability, constant management overhead, and a business carrying the risk of building best in class engineering and operations talent entirely in house. It worked, but it slowed the rate of innovation to a crawl. We needed a new model, one that could tap into the best skills and high impact resources across the global OEM landscape, improve time to market without compromising resilience, simplify the operating model while increasing reach, and allow parallel execution across internal and external clouds at scale for the first time in the organization's history. The challenge was formidable. 15 DMZs, 2 public cloud providers, 5 vendor ecosystems, requirement of one seamless layer. All while serving over 40 plus million customers in 60 plus countries with 3 distinct architectural tiers, each with its own operational footprint and compliance requirements. The breakthrough came from treating innovation not as a project, but as an architectural capability. A platform designed to integrate the old and the new without compromise. We built a virtual DMZ abstraction layer that made the 15 physical DMZs behave as one, capable of elastic, policy-driven connectivity between private and public cloud environments. From day zero, compliance and security were embedded. No shortcuts, no we'll fix it later debt. We enforced multi-vendor resilience across every stack. Minimum 2 vendors, ideally more, so no single relationship or a technology stack could become a point of dependency or lock-in for the innovation. We automated access routing for new workloads, enabling public and private cloud applications to communicate securely and seamlessly without human bottlenecks or risky workarounds. The result was not just a technical milestone, it was a strategic unlocking of innovation capacity. New products and workloads could be deployed globally in weeks instead of quarters. Integration with partners and acquisitions became faster and cleaner. The organization entered new regulated markets without fear of security exceptions or compliance drift. This is where velocity and discipline fuse into something much greater, a competitive mode. The governance designed in Discipline 2 and the intelligent flow created in Discipline 1 gave us the confidence to scale innovation without fear of breaking the enterprise in Discipline 3. And this is the identity shift for leadership. You are no longer just delivering projects or modernizing infrastructure. You're building an enterprise that can innovate without compromise. That is the balance that lets a CEO sleep at night, knowing the future is coming and the organization is already designed to meet it. Velocity without discipline is motion without meaning. Discipline without velocity is control without progress. And innovation without integrity is disruption without direction. When these 3 forces align, intelligent flow, governance that accelerates, and innovation anchored in integrity, transformation stops being a fragile burst of energy and becomes a system you can trust. It scales without eroding trust. It adapts without losing alignment. It innovates without destabilizing the enterprise. The organizations that master this balance will own the future. Not because they are faster for a quarter or a fiscal year, but because they can sustain that speed through market shocks, regulatory shifts, and technology leaps that derail everyone else. And for leaders, that is the ultimate test. Have you designed your enterprise so that speed is not eroding trust and governance is not killing momentum? Have you made transparency non negotiable so alignment is visible at every level? Have you built innovation capacity that strengthens the system instead of straining it? Have you instituted a culture of innovation in your organization that shapes how things get done, not just why we do them or what we accomplish? The balance is not a compromise. It is a design. One that protects the mission, amplifies talent, and turns ambition into lasting impact. This is what transformation that sticks looks like in motion. Your move. Where is your velocity outpacing your discipline? Where is your governance slowing progress instead of shaping it? And where is innovation in your enterprise being rushed without integrity or stalled in the name of caution? If you can answer those questions with clarity and act on them with conviction, you will not just keep pace with change, you will set it. I'm Mirza Chughtai, and this is The Long Arc, where we explore the unseen disciplines that turn ambition into legacy and change into impact. In the next episode, we will examine platform leadership and how to move beyond managing technology stacks to leading them as strategic ecosystems that shape the enterprise. Until then, let's keep building systems that last, innovation that inspires, and transformations that stick.